What's going on, gecko guys and gals? You should be able to hear me clearly. We got the Osmo 3 set up in live stream mode, and we got a feisty baby Black Knight over here that I am about to put down. So this is going to be the new streaming setup that we wind up using. So let me know how you guys like it. But I think it's a pretty nice setup there. And it's going to take a little more work for me to connect this to Instagram and TikTok, but I would say most of our fans and followers are on YouTube anyway, since that was like the first platform we started on. I do have my phone off to the side here too, so that I can see any comments or anything that come through. So I think this is pretty cool. So feel free to ask questions, make comments. I'm going to be doing some cleaning here tonight, getting some geckos knocked out. We got like 3 Black Knight babies here that need to be cleaned. I guess that would be best. What do you think? Something like that. You can see this little one is very feisty. But I'm also interested to see what the YouTube late night live community is like. Because usually I would say like most people on YouTube are not watching lives late into the night compared to like TikTok. People watch until like 4 o'clock in the morning. It's crazy. But also YouTube now has this thing where you can do a live in vertical mode. And when you do a live stream in vertical mode, that broadcasts you to a completely different audience. And so that is also something that I will be experimenting with, because they're trying to capture the TikTok and Instagram audience that they're losing for those late night lives. Wow, this Black Knight is very feisty, huh? All right, we got food, water, humidity. Good to go there. Good to go there. We got one more Black Knight, then we're going to hit some tangerine stuff. Oh, this poor little baby. It was a kind of a weaker, smaller baby, and it didn't make it, it looks like. So, unfortunately, we won't be showing a Black Knight right now. So let me just clean this out, baby. And then we will be jumping to some tangerine stuff right here. But it looks like there's some people here on live for sure, which is good. So this is a Mandarin Inferno Giant Blood and Marine. So it has 3 lines of tangerine in it. Mandarin Inferno Blood, and then it's also Giant, and then it also has a Marine bloodlines in there. Oh, whoops. Let me see. On my phone, I want to be able to see the live chat. Vegas Golden Geckos, Keys World. Go to bed, Frank. Yeah, actually, we have one of our friends coming in from California tomorrow morning. So I'm not going to be able to sleep in late tomorrow morning because I have to meet them. And then we have some transaction type stuff we're going to accomplish. And then they're going to drive back to California. So I'm thinking, do I want to just pull an all-nighter and just work and then not sleep? But that would be extremely bad for my health. So I probably should not do that. But there is a couple of things I do need to prioritize tonight. And one of them is getting some babies cleaned and then finishing off some adults as well. There are some adults that need to be cleaned also. What's up, Reptile King? Just got a leopard gecko 2 days ago. I had one a couple years ago, though. Oh, very cool. Well, leopard geckos are my favorite. They are my personal favorite. You see, this is the Blood, Mandarin, Inferno, Giant, and Marine, and it will start to take shape as it gets older. All of those features will start to come to light more. So I have a video that hopefully I'll be able to do soon talking about color development and color change and progression in leopard geckos, and teaching people what to expect with certain colors of leopard geckos and how they change and adapt and whatnot. Yeah, I am here for advice. Zeon Wayne. So if you do have a question, just let me know. And then hopefully either tomorrow or the next day, I have like 30, 40 more leopard geckos I need to add to the website. So that's going to be like one of the next priorities that I have. All right, Zeon says, I need advice on my female breeder. She started ovulating about a month ago, but it's only a single ovulation. And as of now, she has 2 pink ovulations, but not receptive to breeding. So sometimes a girl will not want to breed with a certain boy. Other times, a girl will not want to breed even when she's ovulating. So you kind of just have to test her out to see like when she's ready to breed. If you have a different male, I would try the different male first. If you don't have a different male, then I would just keep trying the same male that you are currently trying. Just keep trying again and again and again and again until she will do it. And that's unfortunately just the way it goes sometimes. So this gecko is a Bobaju morph, which stands for Bold Jungle, Bold Bandit Jungle. Bobaju, J-U. I have a leopard gecko and he is great, but if I was to breed something, it would not be a leopard gecko. Why? I'm curious. Why? I'm not asking in like a hostile way. I'm just curious why, because maybe your answer will be that like they're oversaturated and there's too many in the market. I don't know. But as far as the as far as breeding them goes, they are probably the most colorful lizard. So they're the lizard that comes in the most variety of morphs. They also have a high desirability in the market. They're also super easy to breed. They're also really cute. So just curious why. Is the last egg baby hatch grow slowly? Mine is already 6 months, but looks like 3 months. Yeah, so that could be a number of things. It could be parasites. It could be weak genetics. It could be just a natural slow grower, which happens sometimes. So, yeah, I mean, it could be any of that. The market isn't there. I would go with something where there is more of a market. Yeah, so the market of leopard geckos is a very interesting one because they are the #1 selling lizard in the entire world, along with bearded dragons, and crested geckos has now probably taken the #1 spot. But I don't know, leopard geckos they still probably got to be up there. But yeah, you really got to be passionate about leopard geckos because there's not really as much of an actual like high-end, medium-end, low-end market in leopard geckos, because you have some breeders, like take Asian breeders, for example, that are importing black knights for like $100 to $500 a piece, right? And then you have American breeders that are then reselling those same animals for $1,000 to $2,000. And then you have other... So basically the value of the animal in Asia is like $100 to $500, then the value of that same animal in America is $1,000 to $2,000. But because leopard geckos are so easy to breed, anytime you have an expensive high-end leopard gecko, the amount of breeders that are working with it, especially if you can buy them at reasonable cost, there's going to be more in the market, and there's going to be the demand is going to underweigh the supply, meaning there's going to be much higher supply than demand, which will drive the price down even further. So in leopard geckos, there kind of, sort of, is not a consistent high-end market, just because they're so easy to produce. And you can get a range of any breeders that are selling high-end stuff, even at low prices, just because of how competitive it is, and just because of how much more the supply is compared to the demand. So it creates like an unsteady high-end market. Now, when it comes to like the medium to lower end stuff, you're talking about $50 animals to $500 animals. Again, the competition is extremely high. And so it's not that the market is bad. It's just that the market is very saturated, and you really have to do things to stand out. And unless you've been around for a long time, or unless, even if you've been around for a long time, there's a lot of people that have been around for a long time, and I would imagine they're not doing the greatest with leopard geckos, you know, which is why a lot of people wind up leaving it. But it is my greatest passion, and one of the benefits that I have is obviously that we make videos and we're pretty popular on social media. So therefore, I am not necessarily like competing in the same market as other people, because there's almost no one else on YouTube that is consistently pumping out high-end leopard gecko videos, right? Consistently, you know what I mean, with a large facility, knowledge and expertise, like charisma and likability. There's really nobody doing that except us. And it sounds, I don't mean for that to sound like cocky or anything. I'm just trying to state like what it is, because there's so many people that hate us, that spread like lies and just like the nastiest people. Some people say the nastiest things about us just because they don't like us and they don't want us to succeed, and they try to pass that, or you know what I mean, around that hate and stuff. And despite all of that, we still do fairly well for ourselves, because I'm not competing necessarily in the same market as them. They're the ones that are like on Morph Market, and they're competing with each other for the same customers. And even though I do have customers that are on Morph Market, my primary advertising strategy and technique is direct to consumer, not through Morph Market. So like directly to my website is where like I direct people to, so that when people are shopping, they're looking at all different kinds of morphs and examples that they can purchase just from my website. They're not looking at it from like another website, you know what I mean? Which will be like on Morph Market, whenever someone's shopping for a leopard gecko on Morph Market, they are also looking at like 1,000 other companies that are on Morph Market, you know? So that's a little bit of the competitive advantage of why I think we've been able to do so well. You know what I mean? Is that we kind of have our own market. We have our own audience, and we're not reliant upon third-party platforms and stuff. And so if you can develop your own audience, your own following, you know, people that like to look at what you do and they like the animals you produce, if you can do that, then there's definitely a place to breed leopard geckos, because they are, like I said, they're the number one beginner pet reptile. Whenever anyone recommends a beginner pet reptile, leopard gecko is in that mix. So there's always people buying leopard geckos, but obviously price is extremely competitive. Market's extremely competitive. So you kind of have to, you know, just like any business, but especially in this one, you really have to differentiate yourself, make yourself stand out, and find a way to captivate and grab the attention of people in a very saturated market. So that was very long-winded. I apologize for that. How many females per one male? Don't want him to run out. Honestly, so last year when we were or last year or 2 years ago when we were starting to produce the highest end tangerines that we have and black knights that we had $1,000 tangerine male, and we bred him to like 100 to 200 girls. And then we had obviously a super high end black knight boy, and we bred him to like 100 or like 50 to 100 girls. And so, and then we also bred him to crosses too. So they both bred about like 100 to 200 girls, and they bred those girls multiple times in a year. Like, because sometimes you have to pair and repair. Hi, little one. Listen, you gonna say hi? You hear that? Hi. Hear that? Oh, gotcha. So, yeah, a male can definitely pair to 100 plus females a year, 500 plus times breeding a year if he really needed to. Now, that is starting to wear him a little thin, talking about those numbers. As far as when I say wear him thin, I just mean like his sperm count and all of that, and his ferocity to breed might go down. Not that he's actually losing weight, because it's possible to keep weight on him, because unlike females, males don't tend to go off of food when they breed. Females can sometimes go off of food when they breed. I'd say like 1 out of every 10 females might have problems eating, or they might like food strike when they're breeding. But males, I haven't really experienced that with them. You know, we have dozens and hundreds of males that we breed over the last couple of years, and I can't remember one of them that ever like went off food. You know what I mean? Sometimes they can get a little skinny if they're breeding, but they also put on the weight right away. As long as you're giving them food consistently and stuff, they will just put the weight back on like really easily. What is this one? Okay, this one needs to come out real quick. So, if you were to breed a male to 10 to 20 females in a year, you should be fine. Because I have bred, like I said, I've bred a couple of our males to literally 100 plus females in a year, and that is equivalent to 300 plus times that he actually bred or attempted to breed, because sometimes the females will reject the male, you know what I mean? So, but that takes energy, obviously, and sperm from the male, because even if a female rejects a male, the male will still, sometimes his sperm can still come out. And so because of that, that still counts as like a sperm count. You know what I mean? As far as like the male's energy and the male's supply. And normally, so when I'm group breeding, or if I'm individually breeding, let's say I'm breeding one male to 10 females, I would like breed him, give him a day off, then breed the next female, give him the day off, then breed the next, or him the day off, then breed the next female, then give him a day off, next female, then give him a day off. And then if I am breeding a group of geckos, like one male to 3 females, I will give him usually approximately like 3 to 4 days off in between breeding groups. So if he's breeding a group of 3 girls, then I'll give him like 3 days off once he's done breeding that group, before I like reuse him for another group or something, you know? Super Snow is a good pairing. Yeah, you can definitely try every night or every other night to breed for sure. I heard that you leopard geckos, but nobody can tell me what you do. Yeah, exactly. So Actually, I might make a video on this, but apparently I saw it's kind of the silliest thing. I might make a reaction video to this, I'm not sure. But the other day, somebody sent me a Google Doc that was like showing all the times that I was accused being the key word because I did not actually, but accused of mishandling geckos. And what it was times that I was making a video or live streaming similar to what I'm doing right now. And let's say I was like showing a gecko like this and it jumped out of my hand, or if it did a flip in my hand, people would take a screenshot of the gecko doing a flip and make it sound like I was tossing the gecko or mishandling it, and they would take a screenshot right when it flipped itself or right when it jumped out of my hand, making it look like, they would say something like, Frank drops geckos on purpose or something like that. And then they would show a screenshot of the gecko jumping out of my hand. The funniest one was there was this one live stream where the baby leopard gecko jumped into the water bowl. So get this. The baby leopard gecko jumped into the water bowl and somebody took a screenshot of me grabbing the baby leopard gecko out of the water bowl. Right? So I'm grabbing the baby leopard gecko out of the water bowl, and this is a live stream. So if people actually just watch the video, they'll be able to see that what people are saying is completely out of context and false. But so I'm grabbing the baby out of the water bowl, and the caption that this person writes underneath that is Frank drowning a gecko, right? Like I'm grabbing the gecko out of the water bowl, and they make a caption that makes it sound like I'm holding the gecko in the water bowl. It's the silliest thing. So when people are talking all of this trash, that's why they really don't have there's really nothing legitimate for them to post, because they know that if they send the actual videos to people that they're accusing me of like mishandling animals, if they send the videos to people will just be like, oh, no, well, that's not what you're claiming it actually is, And so that's why they take these screenshots and then try to pass it around the hobby, sending it to people and stuff as if it was whatever. But here's the thing, you can't control what others are going to say and what others are going to do. I try to live my life in a way where I don't hold grudges, where I live with forgiveness and love, and try to be a peacemaker as much as possible. And even then, that's still not going to make everybody like you. So at the end of the day, there are always going to be some people that just are going to go the negative route, right? Sorry, I'm looking for other things that I need to clean baby-wise real quick. So there's just going to be people that go the other route and want to be negative. And, if there's any, obviously it would be better if people were not being negative. It would make it a much more engaging hobby, which tying back to our earlier conversation about, the leopard gecko market, tying into that conversation, another reason why so many people leave the leopard gecko market is because there's a ton of like bullying and bashing and stuff like that in the world of leopard geckos. Here's a nice older one. I'm keeping this one right here. And so because that happens, people are like, well, I don't want to be a part of this, And so in a way, all the people that are being negative in a way are just making it more difficult for more people to come in and more people to stay for a longer period of time in the hobby, which is why I continue, and Lord willing, will always continue to produce content and make content and educate and entertain, because there is nobody else that is doing it. So because of that, I want to keep leopard geckos alive. the hobby alive, the hobby driving forward. And I just love leopard geckos so much. So I continue to push forward no matter what people try to say or against me or whatever the case may be. And I hope one day maybe it's not like that. But then again, the internet's the internet, and people are people. And I feel like at the end of the day, to some degree, it's almost impossible for nobody to – it's almost impossible to expect that everyone's going to like you in this world, because this world is just a fallen world, and there's a lot of things that are just wrong with us as humans, right? So here's a nice Murphy's patternless. I don't know how well the color's coming through there, but – and thank you. I appreciate that, what was I going to say? Oh, so one silver lining in the midst of all of that, which, if this even is a silver lining, if you want to call it a silver lining, is when people are being negative about your brand or about your content. Ooh, this one's beautiful. This is why I held this one back. Is this tiger? Oh, yeah. This is a holdback tiger. Check this out. This is a holdback. Ooh, it's not showing all of the oranges that are popping through, but this is a pretty orange gecko, and it's got very nice spotting and banding. So our tiger project is heavy spotting within the purple bands. And yeah, that's why I held that one back, because that's showing those features really well. But, sometimes people are going to talk negative about you, and they're going to push people away from you. Other times they're going to talk negative about you, and they're going to push people towards you, because when people hear other, people in the hobby that are talking negatively about you, like let's say about me, there's going to be a decent amount of people that go to my channel, and they'll be like, they're able to make a decision for themselves and be like, is what I was told accurate? Or was it exaggerated, or made up, or whatever the case may be? And people can make that decision, for themselves. And so I feel like, in a way, even the people that are being negative and talking negative about you, in a way, they might be helping you grow in other ways because they're talking about you. You know what I mean? They're turning people that might not have known about you, they're turning them towards you to investigate for themselves and make a decision for themselves, which can wind up falling in your favor sometimes, So, gosh, that was another long-winded answer. I can be very long-winded if you guys remember my old live streams and stuff like that. So, but thank you guys. I mean, you mean a lot to me. I was wondering how the late night live stream would go for YouTube, and it seems to be pretty good. Like, I did a live stream earlier tonight, and there was only like 9 or 10 people in there consistently, but now there's like 17 to 19 people consistently, which is pretty good. And that's with me not even announcing on my channel that I'm going to start doing lives again or what time I'm doing lives. So I think if I start being more consistent with it again, that we'll start to see a lot more people joining the lives again, because I stopped for a while. I also want to start doing interviews again and stuff. So Tiger Project, man, really excited for this. And the color's like 3 times as nice when looking at it in person. Ooh, here's another tiger holdback. Man, this guy crapped all over his human hide. Look at this. See, I'll show something like this, right? I'll show something like this, and then people will take a screenshot and be like, look, Frank doesn't clean his hides, when clearly that's exactly what I'm doing right now. is cleaning the hide, but people will spin the narrative that like you're not cleaning or something, right? Again, the color is going to be like 3 times as nice in person, but look at the beauty of the spots all within the purple bands. And that's our tiger project. That's what I'm going for in our tiger project. Let me see. How do I... No. Go off. There we go. Yeah, long time no see, Nicholas. I just did a live stream earlier today too, and this is the new setup that I'm going to wind up doing. Any white and yellow super snow radar in there? Not quite that combination. No, I'm sorry. Inbreeding, should I put the male on the females? That's a good question. Should the male go in the females bin or the female to the males bin? First, try the male into the females bin and take everything out of the females bin. So take everything out of the females bin, then put the male in, then watch them breed, then take out the male as soon as they breed. The other way to do it is to create a neutral bin. So have a neutral bin that you could put the male and female in, and then watch them breed, and then put them back into their cages. So those are the 2 ways that I would try it. I have tried putting the female into the male's bin sometimes when I have a pair that I really want to breed and they're just not breeding, you know what I mean? But I can't say that that's ever been more successful, you know what I mean? So I feel like either putting the male into the female's bin, or putting the male and the female into a neutral bin that none of them live in, I feel like those should get the job done. And if they're still not breeding after that, then what you want to try to do is change the male, or if you really don't want to pair her to another male, just keep trying. Really, I've gone 2 months trying to breed a female to a male, the male that I wanted to breed her to, and she wouldn't breed to that male. And then I'll change the male and use a different male. And as soon as I change the male and use a different male, she decides to breed with that different male. And so that's what I mean by try with the male that you want over and over and over again. And then if that doesn't work, eventually at some point, you're going to have to ask yourself, do I want to keep trying for the rest of her season and losing out on clutches and stuff because she's wasting her ovulations? Or do I want to just use a different male? You know what I mean? So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's see if we could get a face shot here. A cutie. Hi, cutie. There you go, cutie. Tiger projects. Beautiful. So we got 2 tigers and a Murphy's. So let me put the lids on these guys. Echo Foxtrot. People that actually fully watch your videos can see that you love your animals. Not all of us will agree with every technique, but the love is there. Yeah, thank you. And, you know, not everybody has to agree on everything. I totally support that. But I think when we condemn each other and talk poorly about each other, I think that's going into a realm that's just unhealthy. You know what I mean? And sometimes I want to talk back, right? Sometimes I really want to like fight back and stuff. But I think ultimately the best thing for humanity and for the hobby is not to do that. And so that's why I'm not really doing like hot takes anymore or anything like that. And if I do a review of something, it's in a much more like kind of neutral way and positive way. Like I'll try to put a positive spin on it even if I can. So let's see. Today's date is the 16th. So 9/16, 9/16. 9/16. So I'm just labeling some stuff that I got done cleaning here. I had more success on putting the females into the male. Amy, you should call these late night live streams the Insomnia Gecko Club. Okay, okay. Yeah, and I figured there was a good chance that like there are people that are up late at night that want to watch live streams. I mean, that's apparent on TikTok for sure, because there are people that are live. I've done lives on TikTok before at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning for like East Coast time, right? And people are just active. I would get thousands of people coming into the live, and I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. All right, I need to, let's see. I can kind of show you what I'm doing here, but I need to move some racks around. I need to see some stuff real quick so you can see the benefit of these new racks that we're building is that I can easily slide them and move them, which allows me to see different areas so I could tell what needs to be done. So that was 24. Yeah, so this needs to be done. These are all baby tubs here. So let me put the first baby in, and then I need to run to the little boy's room real quick. Run to the bathroom real quick. And, ooh, this one's nice. Golly. The color's probably not going to come through super good, but this is a very nice tangerine. Yeah, based on what I'm seeing on the screen, it's like 3 times more orangey red in person. And unfortunately, I've been talking to a lot of camera people, and there's really nothing you could do about the color orange. It's just a color that's very hard for the camera to pick up unless you edit the video and edit the photo, and I just don't have time to do that. So that's why I'm on my website. If you notice, sometimes I'll say things like gecko looks much better in person. And when I say that, that means that the gecko looks much better in person. And so I say that because a lot of people know us and receive geckos from us. And then when they receive the gecko and it is better in person, then the next time they know, okay, well, I've seen this before, and I know that the geckos are much better in person when it comes to this color or morph, which is basically just the orange and green color. Both oranges and greens don't come through very well for leopard geckos, especially oranges the most, and then I would say probably greens after that. All right. I had to duct tape this tub because I cracked it accidentally. So I need to duct tape it here. Duct tape does work on cracked tubs, by the way. Certain tubs, I should say. I mean, probably not every tub, but certainly the tubs I'm using right now. Is that normal, females fighting back, even ovulating? Sorry, you're going to have to rephrase that. I'm not sure what. If you're asking if it's normal for females to fight even when they're not ovulating or even when they are ovulating, then yes, that's normal. Also, I'm going to run to the restroom real quick, and I'm going to talk, and let me know if this picks it up. So over the next minute, I'm going to be going to the restroom. So as I go to the restroom, I'm going through my door, and then I have to go through another door, and let's see if the receiver picks up my voice or not. And if it does pick up my voice, then I will continue what I'm saying, which is that females will fight. I like to tell people females will fight 95 5% of the time. So 95% of the time, females will not fight. But 5% of the time, you will find that some females just don't like other females, or some females get tired of living with other females. So I've had it where females will live with another female perfectly well, but then halfway through the season, they'll get tired of living together. And so that's what I mean. Also, I am back now. Were you able to hear everything that I was saying? Give me a yes or no. That way I know how much you just heard me talking about females fighting while I was in the bathroom. James, what's up, James? Vegas Golden Geckos, as someone who has personally texted you and asked for a ton of advice, those people just want to hate. Well, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. I forget who it was. I think I was listening to comedian Bert Schneider on Bobby Lee's podcast, and he was talking about something similar to that as well, where it's like, or maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was something else, but they were saying how like when you're on the way up, people don't say anything, but then when you get to the top, people get very picky at you, and then they try to take any little thing and criminalize it against you. Okay, cool. You can hear me talking. We heard. Yeah, I was trying to. Okay, so I'm not going to go into big detail about it, but obviously, as a guy, you can kind of direct the flow of things a little bit easier than a woman, I would say. And so I was trying to go like on the side of the porcelain so it wouldn't make any noise. But I need to grab some more powder real quick. So I just keep powder off to the side and something like this, but I need to grab some more real fast. But yeah, I wish that cameras would naturally capture the color, especially of orange leopard geckos. But I've been talking to some camera like experts and stuff because like I said, I got this new camera. I got the Osmo 3. I spent like over $700 on it. And so I've been wondering, is this the best choice for me? Is there another camera that will like pick up oranges better or whatever? And all the photographers and videographers that I talk to, they all basically say the same thing, which is that for true coloration, like what the animal looks like in person, you really have to go into post-editing process, meaning that every video and every photo needs to be edited after the fact to get like the true representative to color situation, right? And so I just don't have time for that, like I said, so I will not be doing that. And I really like the Osmo 3, which is what I'm filming on right now. It's a fantastic vlogging style camera, and it's really good for like flipping it and talking to yourself, talking into the camera. It comes with this microphone of why I'm able to walk to the bathroom and stuff and still talk to you guys. And it has a super long range on it. And it's got really good video quality, all in all, you know? So here's a Tremper albino, Mandarin Inferno, bold Tremper albino. But yeah, it seems like there is quite the late night owls. What did you say we'll call it, Amy? You said we'll call it the insomnia hour. It seems like there's quite the amount of insomniacs, gecko insomniacs that want to come onto the live. Also, I'm going to experiment with doing the live stream in vertical mode. So when you switch the camera to vertical mode, YouTube recommends your videos to a broader audience because for whatever reason, more people watch YouTube vertical videos that are live rather than YouTube horizontal videos that are live. And so every time I do a vertical YouTube video live stream, it gets like 10,000 views. It's absolutely nuts. And then it never gets any views after that. So that's the trade-off, is all of your views are up front. And then after that, it doesn't get any views. It seems like, at least to me, that's what it seems like. Whereas with the long form content, which is what we're doing right now, what it seems like to me is we might not get as many people live, right? A couple dozen or so. But then after the fact, we will wind up getting like hundreds of people that watch the live after. So it grows a significant amount afterwards. But I'm probably going to wind up experimenting with the vertical live version, because if you could get in front of 10,000 eyes, that's crazy. Now, who are those people that are watching you is the other question. Are they people that are from China? Are they people that are from Korea? Are they people that are from Africa? And so some of that audience might not be customers. And so you kind of have to determine like which audience is going to ultimately make the company more successful, make more sales. Because at the end of the day, as a full-time reptile company, you have to sell. If you're not selling, you're not going to make it, which takes a little of the fun out of it, honestly, because I have so many conversations with Whitney, my wife, just like, man, I'm just worried this month. I'm worried about finances. We got all this expansion and everything going on, and everything is very costly. I think I shared in my last video that I spend $1,500 a month just on mealworms. That's not even electricity, water. That's not even any of the other animals that we have, like snakes and stuff. Just mealworms is $1,500 a month during the summer when shipping is outrageous because we have to overnight everything to Arizona. During the winter, that drops to like $700 to $1,000, but it's still a lot of money. But yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm rambling right now. Insomnia Gecko Club. I'm gonna remember that. You're one of the nicest guys making animal content. My review of Frank, 10 out of 10, would recommend. May occasionally call you Chris. Oh my gosh. So Astronomical Pie Studios is a good friend of ours. I've been working with him behind the scenes to create a commercial for Geeky Gecko Creations, and he is doing such a fantastic job. And I'm so excited when the commercial's finally done to show it to you guys, and then we'll also have him on a live stream. And if any of you guys need production or video advice or work done yourselves, Astronomical Pie Studio is definitely the guy that I would recommend. But his name is Alex, but when we talk over the phone, for some reason, his last name begins with W, and I feel like there's a Chris W that I know that has a last name that like starts off the same as his last name. And so in our conversations, I keep calling him Chris. And he's like, yeah, that'd be great if my name was Chris, but his name is actually Alex. So let's welcome Alex to the stage, Astronomical Pie Studio. He's great. So yes, Frank may occasionally get people's names wrong. But my wife and I joke about that all the time, actually, because I've been getting a lot more stuff wrong lately. And she says, there's just no space in your brain. Everything in your brain is literally reptiles. And so when I have to think about something normal, like, oh, I'm supposed to go out to dinner tonight with my wife and some friends or something, or, whatever the case is, right? Whatever it might be, that's like more normal life type stuff. It's like there's no room in my brain for it. It's crazy. I would ultimately like to change that because I don't think that that is the way that I want to live life. But I'm putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into growing this business right now and allowing it to be sustainable. And I feel like I'm okay with making that sacrifice up front in the company's life, and then later on pulling back a little bit and not driving myself as much into the ground necessarily, you know? But the problem is, reptile people like myself, a lot of times, if you allow yourself, it's like you're never satisfied, right? There's always something to do. You're never satisfied. And so if you don't discipline yourself, you will stay in this routine of just working 24/7 and thinking about work 24/7. You'll stay in that routine unless you discipline yourself to be more balanced. Fitness, family, spirituality, work life, friends, relaxation, other hobbies. It's like you should have a balance between all of that. But a lot of times, being a full-time reptile breeder is so challenging for most people and so hard. It's like you kind of, most people will tell you that they work 24/7. And it might not even be that they're a work addict, because I am not a work addict by any means whatsoever. I am not someone who is addicted to work. A matter of fact, I love playing video games. I love taking breaks during the day. I love relaxation. So I am not a work addict by any stretch of the means whatsoever. But I just feel like to accomplish my goals of growth and stuff like that, that I need to put in the work, you know? And plus, you're dealing with animals that are living creatures, so they need stuff every single day. And when you have 2,000 animals, it just creates a massive work like responsibility, right? So anyway, I'm rambling again. Rambling Frank. I don't know if there's a better like phonetic name that we could do, like something with an F. Are there any synonyms for the word rambling that begin with F? Fanatic Frank, right? Like something like that, because then it would be a good play on words. My 3 leopard geckos don't usually wake up and come out until about now. So, oh, yeah. Leopard geckos coming out at night is the coolest. I remember when I was younger, I'd watch them, like, watch my leopard gecko. His name was Jiminy because I don't remember where Jiminy Cricket was from. Maybe one of you guys can let me know, remind me, where was Jiminy Cricket from? He was from some cartoon or something, right? But I named my first leopard gecko Jiminy, and I loved watching Jiminy walk around at night. I had like the little red light and stuff, and I would just watch him walk around and stuff. It was cool. Try bringing your gecko to Sabbath prayer. I do it and saves time by combining reptile with religion time. Yeah, that's a good idea. That is definitely a good idea. Because I know that I don't want to continue on with this level of structure forever. That being said, I feel like I'm in a position right now where it's just required. Like the amount of hours that I'm putting in and stuff, it's just required. For how many animals I have, the amount of hours I'm putting in is 100% required. And if I did not put in the hours, I would get, really far behind on specific animal tasks that are really important to not only the health and sustainability of the animals, but also the breedability of them and the ability to make babies and stuff like that. So for that reason is why I push myself so hard to make sure I stay on top of all of this stuff. So let me see. I need to go off to the side here real quick. I need some more humid hides here. Here we go. Also need more paper towels. See if I missed any questions here. Frank, I'm wondering if you'll have any lavas next season. So I am breeding my own Mandarin Black Knights, but I'm probably going to invest in lavas when I can to cross my Mandarin Black Knights into lava for diversification of DNA, as well as if I have my own supply of Black Knight tangerines, then I don't have to buy as many from somebody else, since most of the ones out there are really expensive right now. So I want to make a bunch of lavas for the hobby that are way more affordable and cost effective. But to do that, that means that I need to keep a lot of the animals that I produce so that I can make a higher quantity where I could sell them to people for lower cost to balance that out. So I am probably not going to have any for sale next year, would be my guess, unless I'm able to invest in some towards the end of this year. But right now, I'm putting all of my money and resources into making our rack systems and like expanding our actual like facility and stuff. So I don't think I'm going to be investing in any lavas, and therefore I will probably, in quotes, probably not have lavas this season or next season. But if I had to guess, we'll probably have some the year after. It's another little one. I believe it's, I think you're right. Hector Garcia, thank you for that. Jiminy Cricket came from Pinocchio. Do you have a male Tangerine Tremper, Charmander, Umbreon, and that's so awesome. A male Tangerine Tremper. So right now on our website, I took photographs of the geckos that are on our website a couple months ago. So any tangerines on our website who have a birthday that is 2 to 3 months old, send me a text. Most of you have my number. It's 480-299-7657, or you can get it from the website. And I will let you know if that animal is looking male or if it's looking female at its current age. So like even right now, Hector, if you wanted me to check on a certain ID number for you, just go to my website, geekygeckocreations.com, and text into the live chat, text what ID number you want me to check to see if it's male or female. And I also have like 30 more geckos that I need to add over the next couple days, and then more behind that. But there's just some cleaning I have to do first, which is why I haven't added those to the site. But there should be some Tremper albino, some really nice Tremper albino tangerines on our website right now that are male. There should be some. So based on your price range and what you like in the photo, let me know if there's any that you want me to like check the ID on, and I could tell you if it's male or if it's looking female. I need to pull this bowl apart real quick. It's stuck. Let's see. Treat yourself to a nice brumation. Yeah. 1046. All right, let me look at 1046. Yeah, I need to brumate, right? I guess that's why the animals brumate. It's a nice relaxation. All right, let's look at 1046 together. Now, one of the reasons I don't put a guess on the sex is because I don't want to guarantee it for people if it's looking a certain way. So, for example, this is 1046, and she's looking female right now. But there are what's called late bloomer males. And a late bloomer male is a gecko that's not showing female signs, but then winds up showing female signs or winds up developing into a male by like the 4-month mark. So this gecko was born a little over 2 months ago. And to me, it's not showing any male signs whatsoever. So what I would tell somebody in your situation is that this animal is looking, what is this, 1046? This animal is looking female. And in my expertise, sometimes there are some females that have bigger bulges, And those are the ones that sometimes I'll tell people, this is looking female, but she's got big bulges, so there's a chance she'll turn into a male. But that girl does not have any big bulges whatsoever. So my guess, with my expertise, is that she's going to stay female, based on watching the development of hundreds of geckos over the years grow out and stuff. So cool. Now we got 23 people. So it definitely seems like the Insomnia Gecko Club wants late night gecko streams. So all right, these 6 leopard geckos are done. So now we are going to move on to the next one. I think, let me see, is my chat might be a little behind on my computer, but on my phone, it seems to be, way more ahead, I think. All right, let me put, yeah, so I apologize if I'm like way behind on stuff, but I have one chat that is running through the computer, and then I have another chat that is running through my phone. And it looks like they're not quite in sync for whatever reason. That's so weird. Like they should be in sync. I'm streaming on YouTube for both of them, so. I have not considered breeding African millipedes. Oh yeah, so that conversation, for whatever reason on my phone, it did not refresh. Okay, now it's refreshed. Yeah, so I'm glad that I remember that though, Pinocchio. That's where Jiminy Cricket is from. All right, this is Firebolt Black Knight crossed back to Tangerine. So this is the type of stuff that like I might be holding back to breed into lavas. So this was a Firebolt Black Knight female that was crossed to a Fire Mandarin Inferno male, which basically just means a really high quality Mandarin Inferno male. So it was already 50% Black Knight. And then I bred it to another animal that was not Black Knight. So now this little one is only 25% Black Knight. But that's the type of stuff where as long as it has some Black Knight genetics in it, if I was to breed that animal to a lava, that it would most likely pop out some cool stuff. And when you are working the lava project, you do need to have a combination of high bloodline tangerines that have some Black Knight genetics in them, and you have to cross those to high Black Knight bloodlines that have some tangerine genetics in them. You could also do 50-50s, right? You could cross 50% tangerines or 50% Black Knight tangerines. You could cross that to another 50% Black Knight tangerine, and that will get you 50% Black Knight tangerines generation 2, but they'll have, a higher chance of having, some of the babies will have a higher chance of having more Black Knight DNA in them and stuff like that. So when you're working the lava project, it's just one of those things where you kind of need to go back and forth between the different percentages of tangerine and Black Knight to get both tangerine and Black Knight to show on the animal. $8.98. That's an old one. So that one's sex should be in place. $8.98. $8.98. $8.86. Oh, there we go. $8.98. Mandarin Inferno, Tremper Albino. Let's see I can't tell from the side yet if it's looking male. But let's see. The grand. Here, we'll look at this together. We'll do it's like a gender reveal. We'll look at it together. 3, 2, 1. I need to look at it closer. No, this is most likely. No. By this age, how old is this gecko? This gecko is now a little over 3 months old. By this age, if it was male, it should be showing hemipenal bulges by now. And the fact that it's not at all or even close leads me to believe this will 100% stay female. Sorry about that. But we do have a ton. Like, there's a ton of geckos. I know I raised the price on some recently because they were looking so good that I was like, oh, I don't want to let this go for too cheap. I want to have some really nice stuff, potentially for me to keep, or like when we do shows and stuff like that, because it's really hard to capture orange over a photo. But then if I do a show in person, then people can see the quality of orange and they'll be willing to understand that the animal's worth more. So when I put on my website, looks really good in person or stuff like that, that means that that's a really nice animal. I'm trying to let you know that this animal is like 2-3 times better in person and it's a good investment, you know? But as the geckos age, sometimes they wax and wane in color. So sometimes they'll start off decent, then they'll get really, really nice, and then they'll go back to being like decent or lower color. Other times they start off lower color, and then they start getting nicer and nicer and nicer, and then they continue to age out, and they're phenomenal. So it's really a little bit of a gamble when you buy geckos, especially when they're younger, what their final destination is going to look like, which is why I don't like or don't want to charge an arm and a leg to people, because I want people to be happy with their purchase. So even if the gecko loses a little bit of color as it ages, the person won't be terribly upset, because they'll be like, well, I paid a fair price for the gecko. But what happens a lot of times in the leopard gecko hobby is people kind of like overpay. You know what I mean? People overpay, and then when the animal loses color, they're like, oh man, I just spent $1,000 on this animal, and now it looks like $100 animal. You know what I mean? And it leaves them really disappointed. And so I don't want anybody feeling that way, which is why I usually don't charge an arm and a leg for my geckos. And if I do raise the price on a gecko, it just means that it's really, really nice. And if someone is not like desiring to pay the price, then I might just keep this gecko and breed it back into the operation so that I can have more of those and then lower the price like the next year. But I need to grab some food bowls real quick. My wife is sleeping, so I have to be quiet. I'm in the bedroom now. Let me know if you can hear me. Amy, insomnia, Amy, can you hear me? Alex, Hector, James. Okay, I'm out the bedroom now. Could you guys hear me while I was whispering? A Black Knight Tangerine, but those look awesome. I was just going to ask about that, actually, a Black Knight Tangerine. Yeah, that's all that lava is. Lava is Mandarin crossed into Black Knight. And so I do have, obviously, I'm very heavily invested in Mandarins. Our Mandarin Infernos and all that kind of stuff. So I do have a bunch of Mandarins, and I have crossed them into our Black Knight stuff. And so I might keep all those babies this year, just so that if I breed them back to each other the next year, that I will have some nice like lava type stuff, right? But I don't know. I haven't like really made a final decision, and I only have I think a couple groups, 1 or 2 groups that were set up for Mandarin crossing into Black Knight. Hi, little one. You going to bite me? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. It doesn't hurt, but it's always scary when they lunge at you. LMAO. Yes. Amy. Yeah, that's another thing, too. Ideally, I would like to get on the same sleeping schedule as my wife, just because, it's kind of nice when you go to bed with your significant other. And every night, sometimes I'm going to bed when she's heading to work. She normally wakes up around 5:30 in the morning, 5 or 5:30 to go to work. And sometimes I'm not in bed until 5 or 5:30. And ideally, I don't want it to be that way. But like I said earlier, for many reasons, it just kind of is that way right now. Here's a gecko from our koi project, but it has more tangerine. So a koi, an official koi, needs to have like a 50-50 balance between tangerine and just hyperxanthic or high yellow color. If it doesn't, it's going to be primarily an orange gecko and not really have the contrast of yellow and like brown from Tremper albino. So a lot of my koi project animals this year, I bred it deeper into tangerine to strengthen the tangerine side of things. And so we'll see how those end up this year. But I'm growing. I should have a bunch of those that are incubating and will be growing up soon. All right, little one, food time. 898 is female. 898 is female. Or at least it's not showing any male signs by 3 months old. And usually I would say that most males, I would say like 95% of males will show male signs by 3 months old. But occasionally you get what's called late bloomer males, meaning that they're not really showing male signs. And then they start to show them after like 4 or 5 months old. That's a little more rare. That's like less than 5% of the time. But I have seen that happen, especially with Black Knights, because Black Knights tend to be a little bit shorter, smaller geckos, and it seems to play a trick on your eyes and stuff, because they have like shorter torsos and stuff like that, that when you're looking at their private area down there, it can be very hard to tell until they are officially over 4 to 5 months old. But I've seen that with other morphs as well, like Tangerine. So instead of guaranteeing it for somebody, what I like to give them is like statistics and odds. So I'll be like, 90% sure that this one's going to stay female, or 100% sure that this is going to be a male. Because I would hate to guarantee something for somebody and then it winds up being something different because it winds up being a late bloomer male. Or sometimes females have pretty big bulges when they're growing up, like occasionally. And you might think, if the gecko's too young, you might think, oh, I see bulges here, so this must be a male. But then it grows up and it just winds up being a female with big bulges. So I really don't like to, set expectations for people that I cannot guarantee. So normally the sex is guaranteed after 4 months old, but not before 4 months old, just because of what I've seen as far as late bloomers or misleading females. But I could 100% tell you how an animal is looking. I could be like, yo, based on the way this animal looks, there's like a 90 to 95% chance this is going to stay female. So 898, to answer your question, was female, or at least looking female. Really, really strongly looking female. 1007, I got you. Oh yeah, 1007 is a nice one. I labeled this neon because as it was growing up, it was showing some very bright colorations in some of its areas. Yeah, sorry. This one is, wait, hold on. See, this is either a male that is not blooming yet, or it's a female with big bulges. And the reason that it's hard to tell is because most of the time, the pores of leopard geckos, the pores don't come in until the gecko is over 4 to 5 months old. So all you're relying upon then is the hemipenal bulges. And unfortunately, like with the one that I just picked up right now, there's no pores there. So let's take pores out of the equation. But when I first looked at her, I was like, oh, this gecko doesn't have bulges. But then I pull back her tail, or his or her tail, and I'm like, oh, wait a second. There's some bulges here. And so one of two things is happening. Either the gecko is a female that has big bulges, which does happen, or it is a male that is not really showing its bulges as big as it should be by this age. Because most of the time, male bulges are much more rounded and filled in than female ones. But like I said, if they're at this 3 to 4 month age area, it can be very tough to tell sometimes because there can be a little bit of, it kind of looks like both at this stage, at this age type of situation. So, sorry, but that one I would say is a 50-50 chance that it's going to be male or female. But it's got nice color. That was one of the ones where I believe I raised the price. I don't know how much, but I was like, if no one buys this, I'm just going to keep this for the next show we're doing, or I'm going to keep it for what's called the Neon Project. The Neon Project is going to be a project where we breed more and more animals together that have these really bright segments to their pattern or color. You know what I mean? And so that would be one of the Neon Project animals. They also tend to have a lot of green. And I have on here Neon ? Because I think it falls, here is 1007. See, it's really hard to tell, but the areas where you see the orange lines on its back are really bright in person. So I don't know what I officially listed this price at, but it's got nice green coverage for its age, but most likely the green is going to go away and become more orange as it ages. But this gecko could also get more colorful as it ages because it's still kind of young. It's still young to be settling into its final color stage. But I do have it listed as an animal to keep an eye on because I might want to hold it back. So I put Neon ? On there to see if I want to hold that one back for the Neon Project. It's kind of in between whether I would hold it back or let it go. let it go, let it go. This one's really nice. But yeah, its colors are not going to show too well on camera, but this one's super nice. Kind of, let's see. I don't like to be negative, but it kind of has like a middle finger there. You know what I mean? And I don't say that in a negative way because I never say that to people, what that represents. But I would imagine some people would kind of like it for that reason. But again, their pattern goes through a lot of changes as they grow. And so that middle finger will probably not stay a middle finger forever, but it probably will, or at least for the next, 3 months or so, at least. And maybe it will wind up staying forever. Sometimes you don't know, which is one of the amazing things about leopard geckos. You just don't know sometimes. Yeah, and if you like the way it looks on camera, I'm telling you, all of these tangerines are like 3 times better in person. It's crazy. That's another reason why I don't charge so much for nice looking tangerines on my website, is because if I wanted to get a really color accurate photo, I would have to edit the photo, increase the saturation to make it look like the way it looks in person, and then post the photo to my website. And I don't want to do that because I have so many photos and so many animals. I just don't have time to do that. So some people will do that. That's called doctoring a photo, I believe. Alex can correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a difference between, I forget, I was listening to some photographer one time. He was talking about what doctoring is versus editing, or versus, scamming or whatever. And doctoring a photo means that you are just trying to get the photo to accurately represent what the animal looks like in person. And sometimes, because like orange is a color that doesn't get picked up well on camera, sometimes you have to edit that photo. There's no other way for you to show what it looks like. But being as busy as we are and as many responsibilities as I have, I just want to point and shoot and post. And so a lot of times I list my tangerines really low. And in the future, maybe I will edit or doctor the photos to look representative of what the animal looks like in person. That way I can charge more. But this is just a really busy season of life right now, and I don't want to go through that. So because of that, I just click and post, and then that's it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And if the animal's nicer in person, that's when I will say on my website, that's when I'll say looks nicer in person. Oops. Hold on here. We got a gecko. I need to put some clips on this gecko's tub here. So I'm just going to leave that gecko on screen real quick. And then I need to see what other young ones need to be cleaned here. Man, I wish it was 9 o'clock, because then I could do another 3 hours of cleaning, get to bed by midnight, and wake up to meet my friend at 8 o'clock in the morning. But it's 11 o'clock, which is not horrible, but that means I probably won't get to bed till like 2 a.m. tonight, if I'm lucky. And then that would only give me like 5 or 6 hours of sleep. But it's only one day out of the week. Most days, if I don't go to bed till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, which happens a lot because I'm up late cleaning and doing all kinds of stuff, then I'll just wake up at like 11 a.m., right? So if I never message you back, It's because, number one, I'm on Pacific Standard Time. I'm on Pacific Standard Time. Let me see here. Hold on. I'm checking some baby tubs and stuff real quick. Oh my goodness. This little one hatched out so small. Did I... If that... Wait. If that was there, then I might not have checked these. I'm seeing, because the other day I was setting up babies, and I set some tubs off to the side, and I might not have checked these. So I want to make sure that any babies here are in good enough condition to make it till tomorrow when I wind up setting up the babies. So this little one, I'm going to set this. I have one of them. I'm going to set this little one up because it is a little bit... Looks like it hatched a little on the thinner side, so I just want to make sure we give this one the best chance of life. What was I saying, though? I don't remember what I was saying. The gecko looks really cool. The green-orange combo. Yeah, green-orange is one of my favorites. That's why I combined Mandarin, which has a lot of green in it, with our Infernos, which also have a lot of green in it. I wish you did the reptile show in Florida. Yeah. I may one day, honestly, because I do want to. Like, I do want to travel and do shows and stuff. But right now, I am focusing 100% on our online presence because, you know, traveling is tough. Some of these companies and people that travel to 3 to 4 shows a month, if you think about it, you're gone from Thursday until Monday, and then you need to get all the animals settled back in Tuesday. And so it takes up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 6 days your animals are in transit before they get put away and get food and water and all that stuff. So it does take a strain on the animals, but it also takes a strain on you. And if you're doing that 3 to 4 times a month, that's just a lot of time that you're going to be spending away from home. And I don't have any kids or anything right now, but I'm trying to set it up so that, like, one day, if and when Whitney and I do have kids, that it's set up so that I don't need to travel or be away from home. You know, at least that's what I'm trying to do. And so if I can bring the company to a point where it can be sustainable without me needing to be here 24/7, if I can get the company to that point, you know, and have like full-time workers and all that kind of stuff, then that would free me up more to do shows and all that kind of stuff, right? But that's not the stage that our company is in right now, this second. And so I'm just trying to lay a foundation for us right now as far as online presence and online sales, so that we can always stay, like, with online being a great source of revenue for us, so that I'm never reliant upon having to do shows. You know what I mean? Because I don't ever want to get to the place where I need to do shows to make the company successful. I would rather make the company successful without shows, and then once that happens, then start doing a bunch of shows. And when that time comes, that's when I would really like to, you know, travel across the country and stuff to do certain shows and everything. So anyway, that's the plan. That's kind of a little insight into stuff. Oh, actually, I don't need clips for this. All right, so that little baby set up. So this one's good. All right, so let's put this away here. So this little baby's going to go away. Yeah, you know, we used to drive out to the California show, and even that, which is, let's see, we'd have to pack the animals up Thursday. So the animals are packed up in their display cases Thursday. Then we would be set up Friday, show Saturday, show Sunday, get home Monday at like 2 o'clock in the morning, go to sleep, or bring some of the animals inside, but not put them away, go to sleep, return the car by like 1 p.m., and then start putting animals away like that night leading into the next day, because it takes a long time to put like 100 animals away. You know what I mean? It takes a long time to set them up, long time to put them away. And so if you really, really think about it, the animals are in a container Thursday through at minimum Tuesday, which is about 6 days. And so that's what you're putting your animals through every time you go to a show. And that's if you don't have to ship them. If you have to ship them, they're going to be in the containers an extra day because you have to worry about shipping. And that's if the animals don't get delayed a day or two in shipping, which I would imagine can and does happen sometimes, you know? All right, so those guys are done. Let me label that. Well, so far this camera's been doing great, like as far as overheating or whatever. It doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's overheating. And this room is kind of warm. It's like 82 degrees in this room. Sorry, you guys are staring at an empty tub right now, but I am just looking at priorities of what needs to be done tonight and what can wait till tomorrow. So I think that can wait till tomorrow. That's also, oh, here's some other ones we need to list on the website too. These guys are getting older, getting bigger. So those guys can wait though. Those guys can wait. So those guys are done. Oh, my back is cracking. Yeah, it feels good. So I think all of the babies are at a point where I could do those tomorrow. The babies that need to be done. Just checking all the dates. There's a lot of rows of babies. And do I want to finish off the adults that I wanted to finish the other day? That is the question. Let me take a look. They seem to be good because they are older animals, and older animals can always go for longer periods of time without being seen compared to younger animals. But I'm going to bring them over and attempt to do them. So you guys might get lucky here, or probably will get lucky here and see some older stuff. Wheeling this rack over here. Okay. Now, this is where you're going to see some really amazing stuff, because this is like all of my holdbacks from like last year, or at least some of them. Now, they can't, these guys are bigger, so they can jump out of here, which is a little concerning. What size tub do you normally use as they grow? 3 quart to 6 quart as they grow. And then once they're adults, if you can put them in a 10 to 12 quart minimum, that would be fantastic. I've also seen a lot of people do a 6 quart for adults, and that works. You know, sometimes I will do 6 quart for adults because we have a lot of adults around here. But if you can, I would say the best thing would be 10 to 12 quarts for adults, minimum, you know what I mean? Which is that one? Looks like, yeah, this one is a Black Knight. It's in our Sailor Moon project because it has a circle. If you look on the top of its shoulder blades right there as it walks around, it has a circle. And we have a project called the Sailor Moon Project. And the Sailor Moon Project is a project where I look for Black Knights that have circles on their back, and I breed them to other Black Knights that have circles on their back. And because of that, it allows us to produce what I call Sailor Moons, which is Black Knights with circles on their back. And I want to make a line that can consistently produce that, you know? Let's see, who wants to bet on this guy getting out? Do I hear $100? $100 on the man breaking out. $200 that he goes back in. Nope, he is not going back in. This one is none of these are for sale. The ones I'm about to show, the ones I'm about to clean are all not for sale. And actually, this guy's tub is clean, so he's done. He's ready to go back. I held back a lot of Black Knight breeders, especially males, because the hobby is like really short on males and they tend to go for a lot of money. And if you want a sustainable Black Knight operation, especially on our size operation, you definitely want like 20 to 30 males minimum. So here you can see this is much more just a normal Black Knight where he's like, that's also a male, where he's like just darkness, you know what I mean? He's not part of the Sailor Moon project. He's not part of the Sailor Moon project. I would say most Sailor Moons are like not fully black. So this guy, though, he's just part of the dark Black Knight project. So actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the live stream real quick so that I could start another one. So I'm going to start another live stream in like 1 minute. I just want to separate the babies from the adults that I'm about to show because I think it'll be easier for people to watch. So just give me a minute. I'm going to end the stream and then restart it. So thank you guys. I'll see you here in a second.